The best thing about Warhammer 40k Darktide is its combat and its moment-to-moment gameplay, but it can get pretty challenging as you progress into the higher difficulties, which is why it's important to play a class that fits your playstyle, something that you feel comfortable taking into the endgame. As of the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026, Darktide now has 6 classes: the Veteran, Zealot, Psyker, Ogryn, Arbitrator, and Hive Scum. Let's break down every single one of them so that we can find the best class in Darktide for you. First up, we have the Veteran, which is a class that caters to those who are seeking a more traditional FPS experience. Aim down sights, fire your gun, get good at aiming, and do well. If you typically play games as a ranger, gunner, or a hunter, then you're really going to enjoy this playstyle. The Veteran has the most ranged weapon variety in the game, from the iconic plasma gun to bolt guns to the bolt pistol, hellbore lasgun, and all sorts of other lasguns and automatic weapons. But just because this class focuses so much on shooting its gun doesn't mean that it's terrible in melee. It's actually really good, it just lacks a lot of the survivability that some of the other classes have. That being said, the Veteran is probably the best support class in the game, with passives like Field Improvisation, Survivalist Aura, and Voice of Command. So if you're looking to shoot things and be a team player, then this is the perfect class for you. Next up, we have what some people would consider to be the complete opposite of the Veteran, the Zealot, which is a high-risk, high-reward melee DPS. If you traditionally find yourself playing as a monk, paladin, or even as a rogue in different video games, then the Zealot is probably going to be the class for you. And having a paladin and a rogue fit into one class might be wild, but it's because the Zealot has the most melee weapon variety in the game. The Zealot is able to use two-handed weapons such as the Relic Blade, Eviscerator, or the Thunder Hammer, and it's also able to use really quick weapons like the Combat Knife or the Dueling Sword. The Zealot's abilities and variety of weapons really go a long way in changing up your playstyle, with the common denominator being that you're heavily rewarded for being in melee combat longer and for dodging attacks. If you're the kind of player who really wants to engage in the game's melee system, master spacing, and master dodging, then this playstyle is going to excel for you. The third class in the game is the psyker, which is a spellcaster that focuses on managing its resource, peril. If you're in the Shadow Wizard Money Gang, or you're a mage, or you always find yourself playing as a warlock, then this might be the class for you. The Psyker is the game's de facto spellcaster, and how it does that is by channeling the warp, which is quite dangerous, perilous, some might say. You utilize the perils of the warp to use abilities to deal damage to pretty much everything on the screen, or to buff yourself and deal a lot of damage with your weapons. But you can also overload on the perils of the warp, and you can unalive yourself. If you're able to master the perils of the warp and master being a little bit of a glass cannon, as wizards, mages, and warlocks typically tend to be in these kinds of games, then you're really going to excel at this class. Next up, we have the fourth and final non-DLC class, the Ogryn, which provides a slower playstyle with heavier weapons that tend to have more impact. If you're attracted to barbarians or playing as the tank or heavy in different games, then this may be the class for you. The Ogryn is a big boy with big weapons that are all unique to the class. The Ogryn moves slower than the other classes, but because of your size, you're able to crowd control pretty much everything around you, literally just by dodging into them and knocking chaff onto the floor. This class sacrifices speed for strength, so if you're able to navigate that, then you could do extremely well with this playstyle. Next up, we have our first DLC class, the Arbitrator, which is a pet class with the ability to trade your pet in for more crowd control. If you tend to play as a fighter, warrior, or titan in other video games, then you're really going to enjoy the Arbitrator. Whether you bring the Cybermastiff along or you go lone wolf, the Arbitrator has some of the most powerful crowd control in the game. It's also a very well-balanced class where your melee weapons provide great horde management and damage to armored enemies, while your range weapons tend to pierce or cleave down a lot of enemies and do massive single target damage to bosses. The most valuable skill to hone as the arbitrator is situational awareness, because most of the time you're going to be in the middle of a horde of enemies and bosses just doing your thing, tanking everything, controlling everything, and damaging everything at the same time. But then one special is going to sneak up on you and get you killed. If you're the kind of player who thinks they can excel at fighting everything at once or mastering pet AI in different kinds of games, then this class is going to really excel for you. The last class on the list, and the second DLC class, is the Hive Scum, which is a glass cannon that can excel in pretty much every role. If you're looking to be a gunslinger, berserker, or alchemist, think assassination rogue from WoW or a poisoner or something, then you're really going to enjoy this class. The Hive Scum has a unique stim lab mechanic that's highly customizable to your needs and your build. But the trade-off of having a highly customizable stim that you can use to buff yourself whenever you need is that you're also a glass cannon. Everything about the Hive Scum is fast, and it's crucial that you master your movement, dodging, and kiting in order to do well with the class. If you enjoy games like Necromunda Hired Gun, or Doom, or even doing challenge runs in different games such as Dark Souls, then you're really going to enjoy the Hive Scum. And hey, if none of these classes sound appealing for you, then that's completely fine, because Darktide is going to continue to release new classes in the future. With Mechanicus 2 coming out in 2026, I can't help but think we might get something like a Scutari class. It would be really cool to be able to explore a class from the Adeptus Mechanicus roster, because they have some of the coolest weapons in all of 40k. Additionally, they'd be able to make Scutari more customizable by drawing inspiration from the Hive Scum's Stim Lab and implementing something like augmetics, in that taking different augmetics allows you to do different things. It would be interesting to see what Fatshark could do with a class like this, because if they really wanted to go all out, they could even allow it to interact with the machine spirits of various devices throughout a level. Some other ideas for classes would include things like Sisters of Battle, Ratlings, Navigators, and perhaps even a Xenos like an Eldar Corsair. If I had to take a guess at what Fatshark is going to implement into Darktide next when it comes to classes, I would imagine that after the release of the Hive Scum, they would want to focus on things that are much more iconic to the 40k setting, such as an Adeptus Mechanicus class or a Sister of Battle. Personally, I'm just a simple man who likes shooting his last gun into hordes of zombies, so the Veteran is my favorite class in the game. Let me know what your favorite class is in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, this has been Jefficus, and I'll see you in-game. The Emperor protects.